Nursing his anger, the Monster King hurriedly put on his armor and picked up a short, pliant wolf-teeth club to walk out of his camp, crying, "Pilgrim Sung, a brave man shouldn't run away. Step forward quickly and fight 3 rounds with me." Unable to contain himself, Pilgrim led the star spirits to lower their clouds and to take a good look at that monster spirit. They saw he had disheveled hair, strapped down by a thin and flat gold band, glowering eyes, topped by thick, bushy yellow brows, a gall-like nose, with nostrils flaring, a 4-square mouth, with sharp, pointed teeth. He wore a cuirass of chainmail, tied with a sash spun with raw silk. His feet were shod in calfskin boots. His hands held up a wolf-teeth club. His form was beast-like, though he was no beast. With looks non-human, still he seemed like man. Sticking out his iron rod, Pilgrim shouted, "What kind of fiendish creature are you, that you dare play the Buddhist patriarch, occupy this mountain, and falsely set up the small Thunderclap Monastery?" "So, the little monkey doesn't know my name," replied the Monster King. "And that's why you've transgressed the territory of this divine mountain. This place is called the Little Western Heaven. By my self-cultivation, I have attained the right fruit, and thus heaven bestowed on me these treasure bowers and precious towers. My name is the Old Buddha of Yellow Brows, but the people of this region, ignorant of that, address me as the Great King Yellow Brows, or Holy Father Yellow Brows. I have known all the while that you are on your way to the west, and that you have some abilities. That's why I displayed my powers and set up the image to lure your master to enter. I want to make a wager with you. If you can withstand me, I'll spare you all, master and disciples, so that you, too, can perfect the right fruit. If you can't, I'll slay all of you, and I'll go myself to see Tathagata for the scriptures, so that I can attain the right fruit for China." "Monster spirit," said Pilgrim with a laugh. "No need to brag. If you want this wager, come up quickly and receive the rod." Very amiably the Monster King met him with the wolf-teeth club, and this was some battle. The club and rod are not the same. To speak of them, they have their own form and shape. One is a short and pliant Buddhist arm. One is a deep-sea treasure stiff and hard. Both can transform according to one's wish. They join this time, and each strives to be strong. The short, pliant wolf teeth jewel bedecked. The sturdy golden hooped is dragon-like. They can turn thick or thin, how marvelous. They can grow long or short with perfect ease. Demon and ape together fight. A hot, furious battle, that's not a lie. The ape tamed by faith mind monkey becomes. The fiend mocks heaven in his image false. Raging and fuming, they both turn cruel. Vicious and violent, they both look the same. This one aims at the head and refuses to quit. That one stabs at the face with no let up. Spat out clouds darken the sun. Belched out fog cover the mount. Rod and club, as they join, swing back and forth. For Tripitaka, they slight life or death. Look at the two of them. They closed in for more than 50 times, but no decision could be reached. Before the gate of the monastery, those various monster spirits began to shout their encouragements, beating their drums and gongs at the same time and waving their banners. On this side, the 28 constellations, the guardian of 5 quarters, and the other sages immediately uttered a cry and, each wielding his weapon, had the demon surrounded. The fiends before the monastery were so terrified that they could no longer beat the drums. Trembling all over, they could hardly sound the gongs. The old fiendish demon, however, was not in the least afraid. With one hand he used his wolf-teeth club to fence off all those weapons. With his other hand he untied from his waist a little wrap made of old white cloth. He flung the wrap skyward and, with a loud whoosh, the great sage sun, the 28 constellations, and the guardian of 5 quarters were all wrapped up inside it. Retrieving the wrap, the monster swung it on his shoulder and turned to stride back to his camp, while all those little fiends were elated by this sudden triumph. Asking his little ones to fetch him several dozen ropes, The old fiend told them to untie the wrap. As each of the prisoners was fished out, he was immediately bound. All of the deities were weak and numb, and even their skin seemed to be wrinkled and their appearance emaciated. After they were bound, they were hauled to the rear of the monastery and thrown to the ground. Then the Monster King ordered a large banquet for himself and his subjects, and they drank until dusk before scattering to retire. We shall thus leave them for the moment. We tell you now about the great sage Sun, who was tied up along with the other deities. By about midnight there suddenly came to them the sound of someone weeping. When the great sage listened closely, he discovered that it was the voice of Tripitaka, who wailed, "Oh, Wukong! I loathe myself for not giving you heed, thus landing us all in such dire need. Now you are hurt in the symbols of gold. I am rope-bound," which person had been told. Most bitter fate caused what we four had met. Merits 3,000 have been all upset. What will grant us from this bondage reprieve, that we may reach smoothly the west and leave? On hearing this, Pilgrim was moved to compassion, saying to himself, "Though that master refused to believe my words and landed in this calamity, he nonetheless does think of old monkey when he is in such straits. Since the night is quiet and the fiend is sleeping, I may as well make use of this unguarded moment and go free the rest of them. Dear great sage." Using the magic of body vanishment, he caused his body to shrink and immediately became free of the ropes. He approached the Tang monk and whispered, "Master." Recognizing his voice, the elder said, "How did you get here?" Softly Pilgrim gave him a thorough account of what had happened, and the elder was exceedingly pleased. "Disciple," he said, "please rescue me quickly. Whatever happens hereafter, I'll listen to you. I won't ever overrule you again." Then Pilgrim raised his hands and freed his master, after which he untied 8 rules, Shamunk, the 28 constellations, and the guardian of 5 quarters. Dragging the horse over, he told them to hurry out the door. Just as they stepped outside, however, he remembered the luggage and wanted to go back inside to search for it. "You really value things more than the person," said Gullet the gold dragon. "Isn't it enough that you have saved your master? Why must you look any more for luggage? The person's important, of course," said Pilgrim. "But the cassock and the bowl are even more important. In our wrap are the imperial travel rescript, the brocaded cassock, and the alms bowl of purple gold, all superior Buddhist treasures. How could we not want them? Elder brother," said 8 rules. "You go look for them, and we will wait for you by the road. Look at those star spirits who had the Tang monk surrounded." Using the magic of displacement, they called up a gust of wind and had themselves taken clear out of the high walls. After they reached the main road, they headed straight down the mountain slope until they arrived at a level region. There they waited. It was about the hour of the 3rd watch that the great sage Sun walked slowly and stealthily inside. The doors at every level, you see, were tightly shut. When he climbed to the tallest tower to take a look, he found that even the windows and casements were completely closed. He wanted, of course, to go inside down below, but afraid that windows or the shutters might make a noise, he dared not push at them. Making the magic sign with his fingers, therefore, he shook his body once and changed into a divine mouse, commonly called the bat. How does he look, you ask? A pointed head like a rat's. Like it, his eyes shine, too. With wings he comes out at dusk. Sightless he sleeps in the day. He hides in hollow tiles to find mosquitoes for food. He loves most the bright, fair moon, and knows when to fly and soar. Through the space that was not sealed up between the rafters and the roof tiles, he crawled inside. Passing through several doors, he reached the very center of the building, where under the 3rd level casement he came upon something glowing. It was not the light of lamps or fireflies, neither the glow of twilight nor the blaze of lightning. Half leaping and flying, he went near there to have another look and found that it was the wrap of their luggage that was emitting the glow. That monster spirit, you see, had stripped the Tang monk of his cassock, and instead of folding it properly, he merely stuffed it inside the wrap again. The cassock was, after all, a Buddhist treasure which had on it compliant pearls, mani pearls, red cornelian beads, purple coral, relics, and the night luminescent pearls. That was why it glowed. Exceedingly pleased by this discovery, Pilgrim changed back into his own form and picked up the luggage. Without even bothering to check whether the ropes were properly attached to the pole or not, he threw the load on his shoulder and began to walk out. One end of the luggage unexpectedly slipped off the pole and fell with a thud to the floor. Alas! This was what had to happen. The old monster spirit was sleeping on the floor immediately down below, and he was wakened by that loud thud. Jumping up, he screamed, "Someone's here! Someone's here!" Those various fiends, old and young, all arose and lit torches and lamps. In a noisy throng, they rushed about to inspect the front and rear. One of them arrived to say, "The Tang monk has escaped." Another came to report, "Pilgrim and the rest are gone, too." The old fiend immediately gave this order, "Guard all the doors." When he heard this, Pilgrim feared that he might fall into their net again.